gamers, SimsEclaire here and welcome back to my channel. For today's build, we are building in Sulani, if you guys can't tell. And I was really inspired to do a beach shack because it's getting a lot warmer outside. I'm having a whole bunch of sunny days and I was actually just gardening. So I wanted to do like a nice outside warm weather home, and in my head that immediately went to Sulani. And the house is not on the water, as you can tell. It's definitely more of like an up in the mountains type of beach or island shack, even though it's not technically in the mountains either. Like, there's still sand around it. But my idea was that this was probably a rental lot for a family. They probably came here like for holidays, so they didn't have to deal with the cold weather, or maybe they came during the summer and they just spent their whole summer here on the island. I was thinking one of the parents probably grew up on the island and they moved away to go to school or for work, and so they come back with their family and spend, you know, the summers here. And yeah, and the inside of the house ends up with 2 bedrooms, a kid's bedroom and an adult bedroom. You could probably fit 2 beds in the kid's bedroom if you really tried. I wanted there to be some sort of an activity for the kids, so I did add an art table instead, but we'll see that when we get to the inside of the build. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. The outside is pretty basic, although I tried to add as many details as I could, because I definitely think homes like these have a couple more like small details added to them than some other homes. And up front here we have these 2 little garden plots. I wanted to just bring some color into the build. You know, a lot of the wood tones are kind of matchy-matchy, and I wanted it to just kind of break it up a little bit with some more green and some purples and pops of colors. And then up here I'm adding a sign. It has some writing and then also the mailbox right below it. I figured that was maybe the house name or the house number. Like, maybe the family had this plot named and they let their kid name it or something like that, or it's just the number for the house. We don't really have that in The Sims, but I wish that we did, because then all of my save file builds would have numbers on the sides of them, so it would be a lot easier for me to keep track of where they are in the world. But right now I'm adding some roof trims, and I'm not doing it around the whole house. I'm only doing it on like the back and the sides because the roof doesn't overhang over those areas, so I wanted to give it a little bit more texture since the roof isn't hanging off the sides because they're not big enough. And then over here on the 2 sides of the house, I am using these Seasons like window overhang. And I'm using it just to kind of block off the windows, as well as putting some planter boxes and flower boxes underneath the windows, because I thought it just brought in some of the color from the front of the house around to the sides. And then over here we are going to be fencing off the backyard. Now I do end up adding a swing set that is not in the fenced off area. I figured that the parents probably had this house before they bought their kid. They probably had this house before they had a kid. And so the swing set was kind of added later, and instead of extending the fence, they kind of just placed it in this back corner that they had over here, so that way they could still see their kid, but it wasn't necessarily inside the fenced area because they didn't have enough space. But right now we're adding just a couple more plants, and then over here is going to be the side door. It leads out from a laundry room. I did put laundry in this build. Initially I wasn't going to, but off camera I added that debug laundry hanger from Island Living, the one that looks like there's a whole bunch of just like random colored laundry on it. And I wanted, because of that, I also placed a wash bucket so that way it looked a little bit more realistic. But because I had a wash bucket, I needed a dryer, or else like your Sims would just have wet laundry all the time, so I decided to add just a little mini laundry room. But right now we are into the front of the house, and we have this cute little table here that I kind of merged together with this Jungle Adventure mirror, so it looks like it's one unit. And I was really, I don't know, I've seen this in a couple of different builds, so it's not my idea, but I really like how it looks because the wood tones almost match exactly, and when you cover up the sides here like I'm doing with these vases and this magazine thing, you can't really tell where it merges into the table, so it looks like one unit, and it kind of just gives us a new furniture piece. And then over here I'm just adding a little chair, and then I'm also adding a whole bunch of these pictures from Island Living, the ones that you get from scuba diving in the ocean. I definitely thought one of the parents' hobby was scuba diving, or maybe one of the parents' like job was scuba diving when they come here for the summer. Or maybe the kid is actually a teenager and they do scuba diving as a job when they come here for the summer. I don't know, but I definitely thought someone in this family liked scuba diving. And then over here, I was having an issue with the layout that I wanted to do. I was initially thinking about doing the dining table right as you entered, but I thought that that was a little weird, so I decided to do the living room instead. Now, there is no TV in this build. There's no TV, there's no art easel, There's really no activities in this house whatsoever besides cooking and eating, but I figured since they lived on the island, they probably spent a lot of time at the beach or like eating out to dinner or hanging out with some friends that they've made over the years by coming here for the summers. So I wasn't overly pressed in putting something in here. Usually when I have Sulani builds, they're on the water, so I put like boats and different water activities, but I couldn't do that with this one. I do give them some gardening plots out in the backyard because I figured while they were here they probably maintained a garden. Just so you know, they had some fresh fruits and vegetables and flowers around for the summer. And then in here in the kitchen, I am mixing in a whole bunch of different kitchen item stuff. So I'm using the Sulani or the Island Living counters and little shelves, but I'm using the Snowy Escape stove and the kitchen kit refrigerator. I didn't want to use the Snowy Escape refrigerator because none of the wood tones match the wood I was using on the counters, and I thought it looked really weird. So I liked the white stove or the white refrigerator, how it looked with the Island Living white stove, so I decided to go with that mixture. And then you saw me place that eco lifestyle gardening thing. I thought maybe since they had some plants outside, maybe they also had some inside, like maybe the kid wanted to help garden but they didn't really, I don't know, the mom didn't want them touching their precious plants, so they had like small herbs and vegetables and stuff inside as well. And as you can see, it's been decorated by the kid. You know, that's the kid's contribution. She's painting all over the walls and the gardening equipment and stuff like that. I thought it was just kind of like a cute little storytelling thing because I do end up putting an art table in the kids' room. And then over here is the dining section. I did give them a whole bunch of chairs. I figured, like I said, since they spend summers here all the time, I figured they probably had some island friends that they spent a lot of time with while they were here. Or maybe if you go with the storyline that one of the family members actually grew up on Sulani, maybe they have some old family friends or some family that still lives here, so they have them over whenever they visit for the summer. And then I do add an island. I don't make it super big, and I do end up moving it back a little bit. The house is still functional, but I wanted there to be a little bit more space because, like I said, I did think that they would have some family and friends over. And the island living, like when you live here on Sulani, people come and visit you all the time. They always have like these vegetable feasts and kava parties and stuff like that, so I wanted them to have a nice space where they could, you know, actually have their guests over and not, you know, all be kind of cramped in this, because they don't have an outside area like my Sulani builds usually do because they're not on the water, so they needed more space on the inside. And then over here I'm just doing a couple of different decorations just to fill up the wall space where all the doors are. And I initially was going to put that shelving unit here, but it looked a little big. And then I was going to do the scuba diving equipment because, you know, they have all the scuba diving posters. And then the shelf, I didn't think you'd be able to get into the closet, which isn't overly necessary because the closet was more just for decoration. But in terms of like being realistic, I don't think anyone would put this giant shelf blocking the entrance to their closet. So I decided not to put the scuba diving shelf there, and then I was gonna put it somewhere outside, and then I totally just forgot about it. But in here is the small little kind of like mudroom, laundry room area, and then we're moving into the bathroom. So obviously for the bathroom I use all of the Sulani stuff. I do not get a shower in here, I only get the bathtub. I initially was going to do a bath and shower combo, but I liked the idea of using the Sulani items or the Island Living items, so I decided just to go with the Island Living bathtub. You could probably fit the Island Living shower right here next to the sink instead of doing another cabinet, or you could put the toilet here, like move the toilet from where I put it and then put the shower where I put the toilet, because you can definitely fit both in here. I was trying to make it more pretty than gameplay functional, which I tend to do with my builds, because I don't do a lot of gameplay, although I have been doing quite a bit more of gameplay, and some of the things that I used to do in my builds I've realized probably don't work all that well. So I've started trying to kind of maneuver things differently, particularly with my bathrooms. I've noticed with how I place things in front of bathtubs, a lot of times the bathtubs aren't functional, so I've been trying to do better on that end. But in here is the kids' room. And like I said, I didn't think that this was the house that they actually lived in, so I don't put a whole bunch of clutter. I just put a couple of things, you know, like if they were spending the whole summer here, obviously she would bring her toys and her clothes and like maybe some pictures of friends she has on the island. So I do end up hanging up that kids room decoration, I think it is. It's either kids room or parenthood decoration, where it's like the string lights with the pictures. And then I also give them an art table. I use the one from Snow Escape because the the wood tones kind of match what I was doing in the room. And then I gave them that super cool eco lifestyle light because it kind of looked like it had leaves on it, and I thought maybe she had made that with her dad or something. And then just a couple of other decorations, you know, some butterfly ones, a little bit of a hobby board. Maybe she takes more pictures with her friends or stuff and hangs them up on that board. And then we're about to go into the parents' bedroom. So in the parents' bedroom, I do the really big Sulani bed, and I kept everything in kind of like a warm yellow and dark brown tone because I liked how that looked with the colors I'd chosen on the walls. We also have a feature wall here of some paneling. I did not use the same paneling that I used on the outside, which I probably should have done because that would have made more sense. I mean, it's the same color, so it kind of works, but I didn't even think about it when I went in here to do the room. I was just like, oh, this looks really cool, and then now that I'm sitting here looking back at it, I'm like, I probably should have just used the same one. But over here we have a nice little dresser area with some, you know, makeup and candy on it and stuff like that. I'm gonna add a chair over here as like a little seating area for them, maybe while they're getting ready, or if one of them's getting ready and the other one's just kind of resting, they have a nice little area. And then I did add a couple more windows just because I figured that they would definitely have a lot of windows in this home, try and get some of the natural light in from the beautiful area of Sulani. And then we're going around to the backyard where we're gonna add in some of the furniture and stuff. So like I said, there's the swing set that I told you I was gonna end up adding, and then some flower pots as well. And then I get a small little seating area of just some benches and stuff, and then a grill so that way the family can sit outside and eat. But besides that, that is it for this build, so I hope you all enjoyed this one. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye!